From the personal logs of Dr. Varix, chief xenobiologist of the Galactic Science Council. When we first encountered humans, we thought they were adorably primitive. Their spacecraft were held together with what they called hope and duct tape, and their early ventures into space seemed more like enthusiastic stumbling than calculated exploration. I remember thinking they would make excellent subjects for my ongoing study of emerging civilizations. I had no idea they would end up being the ones conducting the most fascinating experiment of all. My first real indication that humans were different came during what should have been a routine scientific demonstration. We had brought along a quantum leviathan calf, a creature that exists simultaneously across multiple dimensions and can generate enough energy to power a small star. The specimen was safely contained within our most advanced containment field, of course. Or so we thought. Zara Hassan was a local veterinarian who had been invited to observe our demonstration as part of humanity's scientific delegation. While my colleagues and I were explaining the elaborate safety protocols required for handling such a dangerous creature, she was making faces at it through the containment field. The quantum leviathan, a being that had caused the evacuation of entire star systems, was making faces back. "Oh, the poor thing looks lonely," she said, completely interrupting my lecture on the creature's ability to accidentally create black holes when it hiccups. "Have you tried giving it a toy?" Before any of us could process the absurdity of giving a toy to a being that could fold spacetime like origami, Zara had somehow produced what she called a cosmic ball, a simple sphere that she had apparently crafted from some spare parts and a bit of glowing engineering prototype material. The quantum leviathan's reaction was unprecedented. All 7 of its temporal phases synchronized for the first time in recorded history as it focused on the ball. The creature that we had spent decades studying as a force of cosmic chaos, wanted to play fetch. What happened next would rewrite several laws of physics and most of our xenobiological guidelines. Zara, demonstrating what I would soon learn was typical human disregard for the impossible, began a game with the quantum leviathan. She would throw the ball, and it would phase through multiple dimensions to catch it, creating small temporal eddies in its wake. "Good girl," Zara would say each time the leviathan returned the ball, treating this cosmic horror like what humans call a puppy. The leviathan, for its part, began emitting a harmonic frequency that our instruments identified as happiness. When I tried to explain that quantum leviathans were not meant to play games, Zara just smiled and said, "Everything likes to play, Dr. Varix. Sometimes they just haven't had the chance to learn how." This incident should have warned us. Should have prepared us for what was to come. But how could we have predicted that this was just the beginning? How could we have known that within months, humans would not only be treating quantum leviathans like pets, but would be organizing what they called cosmic creature playdates in the spaces between dimensions? The Galactic Science Council demanded an emergency meeting when they learned that Zara had not only continued her interactions with the quantum leviathan but had actually started a rehabilitation program for what she called misunderstood cosmic entities. The Council's concern grew when they discovered she had already accumulated a waiting list of humans eager to adopt their own interdimensional beings. "They're not dangerous," Zara tried to explain to the Council, while a quantum leviathan the size of a small moon gently nuzzled her shoulder, "They're just lonely. And maybe a little misunderstood." The Council's response was to create new regulations about human interactions with cosmic entities. Humans, in their typical fashion, took these regulations as more of a challenge than a deterrent. Within weeks, we had reports of humans attempting to domesticate everything from void wraiths to stellar serpents. And somehow, impossibly, inexplicably, they were succeeding. Little did we know, this was merely the prelude to what would become known as the Stellar Zoo incident, but that's a story that still gives our safety inspectors nightmares. From the official Galactic Security Report, authored by Chief Inspector Nexus. The incident at what humans called Raja's Cosmic Creature Sanctuary began, like most human disasters, with good intentions. Raj Patel was a former wildlife conservationist who decided that if humans could rehabilitate endangered Earth species, why not endangered cosmic ones? The facility started small, just a few quantum anomalies and a baby void wraith. But word spread quickly through both human and alien networks. Soon, Raj was receiving calls from across the galaxy about abandoned or injured cosmic entities that needed homes. "Every creature deserves a chance," Raj would say, while bottle-feeding an infant star devourer that had been found orphaned in the Carina Nebula. The sight of one of the most feared predators in the known universe contentedly drinking synthesized stellar plasma from a specially designed bottle still haunts my dreams. The real trouble began when Raj decided to organize what he called an adoption fair. The concept was simple: bring together cosmic creatures in need of homes with humans eager to care for them. The execution, however, proved more complicated. Picture, if you will, a sprawling facility in what humans call the Australian outback, filled with everything from miniature black holes, which Raj insisted on calling space puppies, to crystalline entities that existed in 12 dimensions simultaneously. Now add hundreds of enthusiastic humans, each convinced they could provide the perfect home for beings that could accidentally unravel reality. The day started peacefully enough. Raj had arranged the creatures in what he called compatibility zones, areas where their various reality warping effects wouldn't interact catastrophically. He had even set up a screening process to match creatures with appropriate caretakers. "No, Mrs. O'Leary," I heard him say patiently, "I don't think a temporal vortex would be happy in an apartment. They need at least a small pocket dimension to run around in." The first sign of trouble came when someone's recently adopted quantum kitten got startled by a sudden movement. The kitten, existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously, managed to knock over what Raj called the cosmic catnip, a substance he had developed to help calm anxiety in higher dimensional beings. The resulting cascade of events would later require 17 different types of mathematics to properly document. The quantum kitten, now operating on cosmic catnip, began existing in all possible states simultaneously. This wouldn't have been catastrophic on its own, except it inspired the Star Devourer juveniles to start what Raj called their zoom eyes. Picture, if you can, multiple beings the size of small moons, each capable of consuming solar systems, racing around like excited puppies. Then the Void Wraiths, not wanting to be left out, began what they apparently thought was a game of interdimensional tag. The crystalline entities started resonating in harmony with the chaos, creating what one human described as the ultimate light show. By the time I arrived with the emergency response team, reality had become more of a suggestion than a rule in a 50-kilometer radius. Time was flowing in 3 different directions, gravity had become optional, and at least 5 different dimensions had gotten tangled together like what humans call Christmas lights. And there was Raj, standing in the middle of it all with a clipboard, calmly taking notes on behavioral interactions. "Fascinating, isn't it?" he said when he noticed me, casually sidestepping a temporal eddy. "We've never seen this level of social interaction between quantum kittens and void wraiths before. This could revolutionize our understanding of cosmic creature sociology." The Galactic Security Council demanded immediate action. Unfortunately, by the time we formulated a response, Raj had already processed over 300 adoptions. Do you know how difficult it is to enforce regulations when the beings you're trying to regulate can simply step sideways through reality to avoid them? Even more concerning was how quickly other humans began following Raj's example. Within months, cosmic creature sanctuaries were popping up across Earth. The human internet became filled with what they called cute photos of beings that could devour stars. Someone even started a social media account documenting the daily lives of quantum kittens, though viewing the images would occasionally cause temporary enlightenment. The Galactic Council was faced with an unprecedented situation, a species that not only refused to fear cosmic horrors, but insisted on treating them like pets. But even this paled in comparison to what happened when humanity decided to take their new companions into diplomatic situations. From the confidential reports of the Galactic Diplomatic Corps. The appointment of Ambassador Lyra Novak to the Galactic Council was meant to be a purely ceremonial position. After all, how much influence could a species have when they'd barely mastered faster-than-light travel? Nobody expected her to arrive at her first council session with what she casually referred to as her emotional support Void Walker. The Void Walker, a being that existed primarily in the spaces between spaces, had been rescued from a collapsing dimension by one of Raj Patel's sanctuary teams. Lyra had volunteered to foster it during its rehabilitation, and somehow, the creature had decided that galactic politics were fascinating. Ziggy helps me think clearly, Lyra explained to the horrified council members as the Void Walker lazily drifted around her chair, occasionally causing local reality to ripple. Besides, she's excellent at detecting deception. Something about how lies distort the fabric of spacetime. The Council's first attempt to ban cosmic creatures from diplomatic functions failed spectacularly when they discovered that several of the beings had learned to phase through dimensional barriers specifically to attend what they thought were social gatherings. Then came the incident with the Procyon delegation. The Proxians, known for their aggressive expansion policies, had threatened to blockade several human colonies. They weren't expecting Lyra to respond by calling an emergency session while accompanied by not only her Void Walker, but also 3 quantum leviathans, on loan from Zara Hassan's rehabilitation program, and what appeared to be a small star devourer wearing a diplomatic corps badge. My friends, Lyra addressed the council, while the star devourer contentedly nibbled on a decommissioned satellite she'd brought as a snack, are very interested in discussing peaceful solutions. The Procyon ambassador, watching the Void Walker phase in and out of reality while playing with what looked suspiciously like a ball of condensed spacetime, suddenly discovered a deep interest in diplomatic compromise. But the real diplomatic crisis emerged when humans started what they called the Cosmic Creature Cultural Exchange Program. The concept was simple: invite representatives from other species to spend time with domesticated cosmic entities to promote interspecies understanding. The program's first participant was a young Centaurian diplomat named Vex, for 27, who arrived highly skeptical of human methods. 2 weeks later, security cameras caught them teaching a quantum kitten to fetch across multiple dimensions while cooing in their native language. The humans are onto something, Vex 427's report stated. These beings aren't just forces of chaos, they're people. Very large, reality-warping people who enjoy belly rubs and treats, but people nonetheless. The Galactic Diplomatic Corps found itself dealing with an unprecedented situation. Other species were starting to emulate human methods. The Andromedans established their own cosmic creature sanctuary. The Syrians began offering dimensional beings citizenship rights. Even the notoriously standoffish Arcturians were caught trying to teach a void wraith to play what humans called fetch. Lyra's unconventional approach to diplomacy reached its peak during the Orion Crisis. When pirates threatened to destabilize the sector, she organized what she called a diplomatic pet parade, a demonstration of human cosmic creature cooperation that involved multiple beings capable of devouring solar systems performing synchronized movements through spacetime. It's amazing what you can accomplish with positive reinforcement and enough cosmic treats, Lyra noted in her report, while her Void Walker created complex fractal patterns in reality to amuse a delegation of young Plutonian ambassadors. The Galactic Council eventually had to create an entirely new diplomatic protocol department just to handle what they called human-induced cosmic entity situations. The department's first challenge was figuring out how to classify beings that existed in multiple dimensions for citizenship purposes. If a quantum kitten exists in 15 dimensions simultaneously, one frustrated bureaucrat asked, does it need 15 different residence permits? But even as the galaxy adapted to humans and their improbable companions, none of us were prepared for what would happen when humanity decided to take their new relationships to the next level, the Great Cosmic Migration. The Great Cosmic Migration. From the research journals of Dr. Jackson Wade, Director of Xenocosmic Studies. When I first proposed the Cosmic Harmony Initiative, everyone thought I was crazy. The idea of creating designated sanctuaries where cosmic entities could coexist with human settlements seemed impossible. But after watching a Void Walker help my neighbor's kids with their quantum physics homework, I knew we were onto something. The project started in what we called the Harmony Zone, a specially designated region of space near Jupiter's orbit. We designed it to accommodate beings of various dimensional states and energy requirements. The real breakthrough came when we discovered that many cosmic entities actually enjoyed having a stable place to call home. It's all about understanding their needs, I explained to my bewildered colleagues while watching a star devourer carefully construct its nest out of decommissioned satellites and spare parts from old space stations. They're not just forces of nature, they're intelligent beings who appreciate comfort and community. The first major success came with the quantum Leviathan migration patterns. For eons, these beings had wandered the cosmos randomly, causing chaos wherever they went. But when we established regular feeding stations and what we called quantum playgrounds, areas where they could safely manipulate reality, they began following predictable routes. One particular Leviathan, whom we named Aurora, became famous for helping maintain the quantum stabilization fields around our research station. She would gently nudge reality back into alignment whenever our experiments got too unstable, all while teaching her calves how to do the same. The Void Walkers, to everyone's surprise, proved to be excellent construction partners. Their ability to exist between spaces made them perfect for helping us build what we called dimensional bridges, stable pathways between different planes of existence. Soon, we had a thriving network of interconnected habitats spanning multiple dimensions. But the most unexpected development came from our work with the crystalline entities. These beings, which existed in 12 dimensions simultaneously, turned out to be natural teachers. They could demonstrate complex multidimensional concepts in ways that even children could understand. Before long, we had to establish what we jokingly called Cosmic Community College, a place where humans and aliens alike could learn from these patient interdimensional tutors. Watch this, I remember telling a visiting delegation from the Galactic Science Council, as a young crystalline entity helped a group of physics students visualize 11-dimensional space. The entity carefully folded reality like origami, creating a visual model that would have taken our most advanced computers years to render. The Council was particularly concerned about our Cosmic Creature Career Program, an initiative where we helped various entities find productive ways to use their reality-altering abilities. We had star devourers helping to safely dispose of dangerous stellar remnants, void wraiths assisting with deep space exploration, and quantum kittens. Well, the quantum kittens mostly just did whatever they wanted, but they looked adorable doing it. You have to understand, I explained to the Council, while a juvenile void walker practiced creating stable wormholes under the watchful eye of its human trainer, these beings aren't just powerful, they're intelligent, curious, and eager to learn. We're not taming them, we're building partnerships. The program's success led to an unprecedented boom in what we called cosmic tourism. People from across the galaxy came to visit our sanctuaries, often leaving with a completely changed perspective on beings they'd once feared. We had to establish special orientation classes just to handle the influx of visitors wanting to learn human methods of cosmic creature care. But not everyone was happy with our success. There were those who saw humanity's growing influence over cosmic entities as a threat. They couldn't understand how a species that still used duct tape on their spaceship repairs had managed to befriend the most powerful beings in the universe. They would soon learn that underestimating either humans or their cosmic companions was a serious mistake, but that's a story that would shake the very foundations of galactic society. Guardians of the Galaxy. From the emergency broadcast archives of the Galactic Defense Network. Nobody expected the Void Collective to make their move during the annual Cosmic Creature Show. In retrospect, they probably should have. After all, what better time to attack than when humans were supposedly distracted by what the collective dismissed as playing with cosmic forces they couldn't possibly understand. The Void Collective, a faction of extremists who believed cosmic entities should remain forces of pure chaos, launched their assault across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their warriors, using forbidden technology to enslave lesser cosmic entities, expected to find Earth's defenses focused on managing an exhibition of trained quantum leviathans and void walkers. Instead, they found themselves facing what one human child would later describe as the biggest group of angry space pets ever. It started when a quantum kitten named Sprinkles, who belonged to a young girl attending the show, sensed the approaching threat. The kitten's distress immediately alerted every cosmic entity in the vicinity. What followed would be recorded in galactic history as the day reality learned to bite back. Dr. Jackson Wade, who was presenting his latest research on cosmic creature psychology, barely had time to say, "Oh dear," before every trained entity in the show launched into what could only be described as a coordinated defense response. Years of human companionship had taught these beings more than just tricks, it had taught them loyalty. Ambassador Lyra Novak, who was attending with her Void Walker Ziggy, immediately activated the emergency response network she'd helped establish. Within minutes, every human cosmic creature partnership across Earth's sphere of influence was mobilized. The Void Collective's first wave encountered Aurora, the quantum leviathan who'd helped maintain the research station's stability fields. She'd since taught an entire pod of leviathans how to manipulate quantum fields with surgical precision. The collective's supposedly unbreakable dimensional barriers lasted approximately 3 seconds against what amounted to a family of cosmic beings who'd spent years practicing their teamwork. Meanwhile, Raj Patel's network of sanctuaries transformed into defensive strongholds. The Star Devourers he'd rehabilitated turned their appetites on the collective's warships. The Void Wraiths, many of whom had learned to create stable dimensional passages for human transportation networks, now used those skills to redirect enemy weapons fire into empty space. But the real turning point came from an unexpected source, the crystalline entities from the Cosmic Community College. These patient teachers, who'd spent years helping humans understand multiple dimensions, now applied their educational skills to what one officer called teaching the Void Collective a lesson they'd never forget. The sight of crystalline beings using complex mathematical principles to fold hostile fleets into origami would later be described as terrifyingly beautiful by surviving witnesses. Even the quantum kittens contributed, turning their playful reality warping abilities into what could only be described as cosmic scale mischief. Enemy commanders found their navigation systems rerouted through dimensions that technically didn't exist, their weapons transforming into various Earth pets, and their fearsome battle cries replaced with what humans called meowing. The Void Collective never stood a chance. How could they? They were fighting beings who had not only been trained by humans but had formed genuine bonds with them. Every tactic they tried was met with not just power, but with the creativity and adaptability that came from years of human influence. In the end, it wasn't even close. The collective's forces were either captured, converted, or sent running for the edges of known space. Their leaders were eventually brought to justice by a joint task force of galactic peacekeepers and what the human media dubbed the Cosmic Creature Defense League. The aftermath brought significant changes to galactic society. The Council, finally accepting that humans might have been right all along, officially recognized Earth's methods of cosmic creature partnership. The Cosmic Harmony Initiative was expanded to include training centers across multiple galaxies. Even former members of the Void Collective began attending classes on positive reinforcement and proper interdimensional being care. Dr. Verix, who had watched humanity's journey from the beginning, perhaps summarized it best in his final report to the Council: "We thought we were studying them, but they were teaching us all along. Humans didn't just tame cosmic forces, they showed us that perhaps these beings never needed taming in the first place. They just needed someone to offer them friendship, understanding, and the occasional interdimensional treat." Today, the galaxy is a very different place. Quantum kittens play in parks across multiple dimensions. Void walkers help maintain transportation networks between stars. Star Devourers assist in cleaning up space debris while wearing officially sanctioned safety vests. Humans insisted on proper work safety protocols. And somewhere on Earth, a child is probably teaching a newly discovered cosmic entity how to sit, stay, and bend reality responsibly, just another normal day in a universe where humans turned the most feared forces in existence into beloved companions. End of report. Note: this document exists simultaneously in multiple filing systems and may occasionally per